Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be doing a part 2 of graphing standard form equations. We're going to do it the same exact way we did before, but this is just a bit of more practice for you all and more examples to make sure that you're doing it the right way. If you practice something once, that doesn't make you that good at it, that makes you okay. So let's do number 24 first. Negative 5x plus y equals 1. That'll be our first example. Our steps to graphing standard form are: find the intercepts. And there's two intercepts, so let's find the x-intercept first. If we're finding the x-intercept, then we are plugging 0 for y. So negative 5x plus 0 for y is equal to 1. That means negative 5x equals 1. If we divide by negative 5, x is equal to negative 1/5. As a coordinate, that would be negative 1/5, comma 0. That'll be one of our points that we use on our graph. Now for the y-intercept, we're going to put 0 for x, negative 5 times 0 plus y equals 1. That first part goes away, leaves us with y equals 1, which means our coordinate is 0 for x, 1 for y. Now let's make a graph. We need 0, 1. We need the origin, we need the x-axis, and we need some negative numbers. Negative 1/5. So it's around there. Let me zoom in so I can get my line nice and good. Something to remember is sometimes in standard form you don't include the negative numbers, but not all the time. Sometimes you do have the negative y and the negative x, and so unless it's a word problem or they told you that negative numbers to ignore them, your graph will go further than just the 2 points that you graphed. It needs to extend whatever's happening to the right and whatever's happening to the left. Your arrows should be able to tell somebody what's going on. And since I didn't put any numbers on this, I do need to label the x's are counting by 1, so over here would be negative 2. My y's, 1, 2, 3, 4. My y's are also counting by 1. You don't have to label all of the numbers for your x and y, but you do need to label enough of them that somebody reading your graph knows what scale you are using. How news people and advertisers mislead customers is that they'll make a graph and then they'll put like their product super high and they'll put the competing product. They'll like make some random graph and say last year, and then they'll say new iPhone 13 or whatever, and they'll say performance. They'll say, oh, look at how much better it is. Our new one is this high, and our old one was here, and down here. Well, they won't even label 0. They'll just say last year our dot was down here, and they'll say, oh, look at this gain. This is like 30% faster or 40% faster. But then overall, if this graph was made correctly to scale, the two dots might actually only be like that far apart, but then they just like zoomed in and said, oh, this new product is so much better than the last product. Look at all of our performance gains. So in order to not be misleading, you need to label your scales on your x-axis and y-axis. Let's do another example. Let's do we'll do 26 and 29. 26 is y equals 7x minus 7. Yes, we could graph this just the way that it is in slope-intercept form, but we're going to change it. I'm going to move the 7x to the left, and if I move the 7x to the left side of the equation, then it's going to be a negative 7x. Let's find the two intercepts by putting 0 for y and the y-intercept by putting 0 for x. Now that we have our 2 points, we can make a graph. My graph needs to include negative 7, so I'm going to have to count by 2's for my y's. And I need to go a little bit lower. So there's my y-intercept. My x-intercept, I will count by 1's. And there's the intercept. Connect the two lines. Extend it further so it doesn't just end at that point. And there's our graph. I said we would do number 29. Y is equal to 7. If y is equal to 7, then we need a dot at 7. And if y is always equal to 7, then no matter what number you put for x, whether you're at 1 for x or 2 for x, your y is always going to be the number 7. And so we have that flat line that has 0 slope. Okay, so with those short few examples, nothing's changed. Just graph it in standard form. Find the intercepts. Make sure that your graphs are nice and neat. Oh, we are supposed to state the slope for these. I missed that part. So in this one, the slope, okay, because my numbers were like that, I can't find it like that. So to find the slope, the easiest way to find the slope is to change it to y equals. mx plus b form. So we started with negative 5x plus y equals 1. So let's move the 5x by adding it. Y equals 1 plus 5x. Let's put the 5x first. And then from here, whatever is multiplying x is the slope. M equals 5. And that's done now. Now that we've graphed it, found the slope, we already found the intercepts earlier. Now let's do the same thing here. In this one, they gave us the equation and y equals mx plus b. They gave it to us in this form, so the number that matches with m is 7. So our slope is equal to 7. And in our graph, you can see that we went over 1 and up 7. So if your scale is nice and neat, then you can use rise over run to find your slope. The first one, they had decimals, so it was more difficult to do it that way. So we just rearrange the equation back into y equals mx plus b form to find the slope. But you do need to know how to graph standard form. So now it's your turn to do the other questions here. I did 3 examples, so that leaves 7 for you to do.